Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacqueline. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our new...
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at dianefloydboehm.com. Visit dianefloydboehm.com. That's dianefloydboehm.com.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Wild at Heart show at USA Global TV and Radio. My name is Roland FRIEDL. I'm the creator of the show, and my background is a business background with Sparta Performance Systems. My team and myself, we coach and consult businesses all over the globe since more than 2.5 decades. Besides that, and besides my environmental work, actually, an hour before, I had an amazing show together with my partner, m.kraszewski. We interviewed one of my heroes, Captain Paul Watson, about environmental pollution, oceans, and whales. And besides that, I dedicate my life to a man's work. And yeah, today, the topic of this show is, I guess it's, I don't know, episode 27 or 28. Time's flying by. It's all about... We are talking about who inspires us as a man and why we follow them through. I can be an inspiration, a role model, a mentor, whatever it is. And I'm very looking forward to that because I always had mentors or people who inspired me. So I'm very looking forward what my panelists who join me today have their who or what is their inspiration. So let's get started and bring on the show my dear friend from the Middle East, from Egypt, Mohamed.Mounir. My dear friend Mounir, welcome, welcome. Hopefully Mounir is coming up soon. And in the meantime, we have Mohamed.Mounir from Egypt. We have hazem.baraka from Egypt tonight. We have Big Scott from the UK here, and we also have my dear friend Christian BROSCH here. MARCIN Kraszewski, he has the show off. He did the show before, and he's heading in his car. So we have some technical issues right now, but I think the panelists will shortly come up. In the meantime, if you missed any other of the shows or you want to get in contact with the panelists or with myself, I highly recommend go to our website, which is bonfiretalks.com. There you will find all the recordings of the previous shows, but you will also find the contact details of our panelists who are going to discuss the topics. Because the Wild at Heart show, Real Authentic Uncut, is a show for men, by men, about man's topics. Okay, so let's try to get the panelists on.
Hey, hi, Roland.
Okay, the first one is coming. Christian. Hazem is coming. Finally, Thank you for showing
There was
up.
a bit of delay on the highway internet, internet highway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we have some challenges with the technique, but we don't care. We are still on a mission. We are still going. We do all the best, because when the why is strong enough, the how and what can always be solved. But anyway, thanks, gentlemen, to be here. As I said in the beginning, we have an amazing topic. It's a very interesting one, where you guys get your inspiration from. Who is it? It's always the same person. Is it mixed, or is it changing, or is it a person, for example? I know that Christian said something backstage about non-personal one, but I want to start with a personal one. And Scott, that's Scotch. Yeah. I hope you're drinking water, not Scotch. Scott, how about you? Do you have role models over the time? Are they changing? Why do you follow them?
Well, the first question that comes to mind is, what do you class as a role model, an icon, an idol, whatever? In my lifetime, I've never really followed any one person. A lot of my life journey has been through books. So I'll idolize a book or a technique for a while, but I don't idolize any one specific person, because every single one of us is fallible. And people that I used to love, like musicians and comedians and people that I used to look up to and worship as a youngster, are all now either behind bars or hidden away from obscurity, So when you put somebody on a pedestal, once they fall off that pedestal, do you lose respect for them? So I think my idol, my icon is myself, because instead of wasting time investing in other people and watching them, I can invest that time in myself and my own self-progress. So I'm not saying I'm a god, I'm a deity or anything, but the person I need to worship is myself and learn about myself. But in that process, I've now become a bit of an idol. I had the awards ceremony at the weekend, and there was a couple of guys there. We got chatting, had a really good conversation. The wine was flowing. And afterwards they were like, you were really nice to meet. You're an inspiration. I want to follow what you do. And I'm like, don't follow me, but take a little bit of what I've got. And if it helps you, move it forward. Do you know what I mean? So my question to the panel is, or to you, Roland, is, what is an idol? What is an icon? And what does it mean to you guys?
Actually, for me personally, it's just an inspiration. I mean, I never followed someone for a long time. I had some heroes that inspired me, but when I can learn something from me, who give me hope, who give me faith, who give me, I don't know, power, motivation, but I never followed a whole person. And because what I learned in a very early stage, somebody told me, it's where he said, be less impressed, but more involved in something. That's what you said, engage in yourself and become a better version. But of course, there are people who have been an inspiration for me. Like I said before. Yeah, like I said before, on the show before the Earth Show, I had the amazing chance to interview one of my heroes when I was in my 20s, Captain Paul Watson. And I said it today in the interview to him, Paul, it's an honor to interview you because you're a hero. And the reason why you're a hero for me is not only what you're doing for this plan, it's because I just admire your iron backbone. Whatever it is, you have a vision, you're on a mission, and you go for it. And you don't care about if it's right or wrong. Some people really he get a lot of death threats. People shoot on him or something, but he goes on a mission. He has no fear, and this inspires me. Yes, absolutely. But it's a good question what you said, Scott. And I want to ask the other gentleman is, what is when you have an idol and then a friend of mine, give you an example. We had a conversation with a friend of mine actually last week, and we have been talking about Mahatma Gandhi. Yeah, for me, he's not a Mahatma. He was an evil. He was a monster. And I told him the whole story, and I gave him a lot of background information. And for him, our whole world picture collapsed because he thought Mahatma Gandhi was just a holy person. He was not. So that's a good question. When you follow somebody and you see an idol, and then what when you find out this person was a monster and everything collapses?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? The time that you have to take to find out whether that person is a genuine person or not. Do you know what I mean? Because you can be swayed one way or another by media, but that time you're invested into finding out whether somebody's genuine or not. It's time you could be invested in you. Do you know what I mean? So I agree what you're saying. I've got people that I look up to and I think, oh, fair play, you've come from here and you've done really well. And I like seeing positivity from other people, but nobody's bigger than me and I'm no bigger than anybody. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're all naked. So to me, what is an icon? What is an idol? Sometimes it's wasted energy.
Yeah. But people always need somebody who leads or they can follow. Yeah. But anyway, Christian, how about you?
Well, how about me? Well, I got a kind of special opinion about that. What you guys were saying right now, because I think first thing of all, you never see the whole person if you see someone, if you see like Mahatma Gandhi or stuff like that. So if that what Mahatma gave to this guy you were talking about was good for this guy for this period of time, so okay, the heck if he was a monster in real life or whatever. I mean, if it serves the purpose, it's fine, because you can never follow a whole person. You will never be in his kitchen when he's in the morning and stuff like that. So you're only picking out a little piece of somebody, and you declare that as follow worthy, and then you follow, or you copy that, you model it, as we say in NLP. So it's fine with me. I'm picking out pieces from different persons who are handling things in a certain way that I would like to handle in that way, or at least in a way that is similar to that one, because sooner or later it will the thing I get from somebody else will become my way, because I put my own character in it, my own thoughts in it, stuff like that. So, but to get an idea of something, or to get maybe a kind of solution from somebody else, that's fine with me. So I don't put that person on a I don't know how you, on a socket, is it that, like looking up to it, glorifying the whole person. I don't do.
You mean you're not worshipping?
Yes, it's always I'm picking out something that this person can do, or I don't know. Well, as I said, just a part of a person.
Yeah. I guess I have a story for that before we continue. I remember a few years ago, I did my Thai yoga massage teacher training in Greece with my brother Takis, and he's an amazing teacher on that, on other stuff, and we call each other brothers. And I remember there was a young little vegan lady from Tasmania. She flew in from Tasmania to Greece to join this course, and said, "Yeah." And I said, "Hey, why are you coming and spending all this money and this long flight to come here?" I said, "Yeah, he's my superhero, and I want to learn from him." Blah 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 blah. So we spent 2 weeks together, and on the last night, Takis invited us to a small Greek restaurant, a very small one where you don't show up tourists. A few Greek people are there, and they slaughtered a goat, and we had a goat barbecue. And this girl, she was, "How can we do it? How can we do it? How can you eat meat? And how we can eat?" And you could see that this idol or role model Tak is falling in front of her. And I asked her, I said, "Is his teaching less important to you? Is his teaching less good? Or whatever happened?" I said, "Yeah, no. This is not good. This is not good." So then I don't understand this. Why we can take something out of it and leave the rest where it is, what we don't want to take. It's like on a buffet. You know, you pick what you want, and what you don't want, you leave. You all muted, guys, who want to chance in.
That's exactly what I meant. So you're picking out a little thing, like maybe in work. I was in Orlando. I watched Richard Bandler working, and in NLP, well, okay, he's invented it. So he's like freaking genius if he's working. So I modeled that. But the rest of his life, like, I don't know, and I don't care. So this is what I want from him, and then I get it, I model it. So that's fine.
Well, in fact, maybe for me, I was there were following up other people and understanding their lives and learning from them was not always for the good things. I mean, sometimes you follow up people who are failing, who are not really doing good things, who can inspire us in a different way. So yes, I can learn from their mistakes, and I can know how they did not manage this in a good way, and what to avoid, what not to avoid. When I was young, and I was always looking at those kind of things, and trying to really understand, and I would say that it's. Well, it's very one of the rare things that I've got from my father, and it was really positive because in our in my very young age there was this legend, a football player, and he has this very nice manner. He was down to earth. He was doing all the charities and so on, and his name was Mahmoud Al Khatib or Bibo, and he's now the chairman of one of the most prestigious and very famous, football team. And one day I saw him at the club, and I was so young, and I had this like autograph thing, and I ran to him, and I asked him for an autograph. And then he signed it to me, and I was coming back, and I was so nice and so on. I had his signature, and he was wishing me the best of luck and so on. And then my dad said, but he's just a man. He only plays football, and you need to make sure that this is not a legend or someone that you look up to in all ways. And that's started to resonate, and I started to understand that this is yes, I mean, at the end of the day, they are men, absolutely men. So I need to learn from their mistakes, from their good deeds. He's good in sports, but maybe in something else I need to see another role model, learn from them, not to follow the steps, maybe to avoid the areas where they fall, so that I'm learning from the experiences of the others.
Yeah. I was never a guy who went for an autogram for someone. I met many interesting people in the world, many superstars in different areas. Sometimes by accident, something just, but I was never making a picture together or something. But I remember I had an idol when I was young. When I was in my young age, I guess I was 11, 12 years old. And well, actually, I was listening to the Rolling Stones music, but Mick Jagger was my idol. But my idol was a businessman in Austria who had a very large accounting company, very successful, making hell of money. He also became the treasury, the finance minister of my home country, and he was my hero. I want to be like him, making money, being successful, and going that. That's why I left my previous school and went to a more business school. He was my hero in when I was 11, 12 years old until I was 15 or something. Actually, it was not a rock and roll star. I mean, I was always a rebel, but it was not a rock and roll star or a football player. It was a businessman. I was very driven by this person. I want to become like him, or I want to not become like him as a person, but becoming successfully like him. So while I'm talking about this, is what I see for myself is some of my role models or inspiration that changed through my growing, my maturity, while my values changed. So when I was young, I was very business driven, because I came from a background we didn't have much money, so I was very hungry to be more successful than my parents, because my parents haven't been a role model at all. In this case, but with with growing older and changing my values, from business, family, and then doing the other stuff, also my inspiration, or the people who inspired me, of course, changed.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
So I would say that is more of somebody that has been an inspiration to you rather than an icon or an idol. A book that I've read might be an inspiration, or somebody that I've met on the street might be an inspiration, but an idol is something completely different, because, like, say, for instance, Mahatma Gandhi, some people will idolize him and other people will demonize him. So it depends on which side of the idol or the icon that you're on. Yes. Do you know what I mean? So I find it hard myself personally to put somebody on a pedestal and lower my life to somebody else, because we're all the same value. You know what I mean? And I think we can all inspire people. Some people might idolize us, but that's not my intention when I'm living my life for my purpose. But that's somebody's choice if they want to idolize somebody. But that's making, when you idolize somebody, you're putting yourself on a lower step, if that makes any sense. Do you know what I mean? So I say people are inspiration. And what you were saying there, Roland, he inspired you to become financially independent. You know, I've had people that I've listened to and had speeches to that have inspired me. You know, I had the weekend away at the awards, a couple of men that I spoke to there that were multi-millionaires. And at the end of the day, we sat on the table, we had a right blast, and there was nothing any different from their meat than there was from me. Do you know what I mean? So it just shows that, yeah.
I remember when I was building up one of my companies, and I had 8,000 distributors all over the world, and I did all the speeches on large conferences, conventions, thousands of people, and I was on stage, and people collected, and they came backstage and said, "Hey, Roland, I want to become like you." And I always said to them, "Ask my wife; she wouldn't say, 'Don't become like me.'"
Yeah, you know what I liked? I liked what you know, the Matthew McConaughey, when he had his Oscar on the I think it was 2014 or something like that, and when he went to receive the Oscar, and he was saying the three things that he's actually inspired him. There is someone who is looking up to, someone is looking forward to, and someone is who is he's chasing. And it was really nice because he was saying, you know, I look up to God because he graced me, he did a lot of good things for me, taking care of me and so on. And I'm looking forward to my dad now, who is in heaven, and he's watching up, seeing me winning and so on. I did it and so on. And then I'm chasing my next version of myself. So I see what I was when I was 15. I was chasing my 25 years old version, and then when I was approaching there, okay, who am I going to be chasing? And he said my 35, and so on. And that was really inspiring. And those are the things that you really can have in terms of how you build and pick up the things that you really want. Not everything from a man, because at the end of the day, he's a man, not a prophet. You know, just an ordinary man.
I love that. I love that. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I love the howdy, howdy, Matthew. Sometimes I see I watch his podcast on YouTube. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, but I love the statement of that. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And you know what, Roland? And for me, the inspiration when I was a little boy for making the business was, in fact, a character in a movie. And I was searching for who I want really to be. You know, what exactly the studies that I want. And I saw Michael Douglas in The Wall Street, in the very first old movie. And, you know, and it was suddenly I was thinking, you know, wow, this is really touching my heart. I mean, this kind of big buildings, you know, Wall Street at night, the entire rocket, you know, and Skyrock is absolutely dark, and only his office with mobile and the laptop and so on. It was very big mobile at that point of time and a heavy laptop. But I was inspired with that, with the suits, with the watch and so on. And of course, it was really bad character. I mean, he was doing all, you know, bad stuff. He went to jail, you know, at the end. So I thought, okay, I would definitely want to be that, but in a good way. So it was really this kind of things, you know, loved the working for Xerox. It was the suits, it was the laptop. I bought a laptop and it was really does not exist in Egypt. So I put it from the UK, and it was a price of a car. And the moment that the mobiles came, I went and I invested a hell of a lot of money in having a mobile, you know, but it was all this kind of inner things that I wanted to have and to move forward with. So this kind of things that, like what you're saying, taking something from someone and it inspires you to do something, but leaving the things that are bad and not up to your ethics and morals, and you take it as an inspiration.
Absolutely. Hazem, how about you, my dear friend? You're so quiet.
Yeah. Actually, I was impressed with what Big Scott said, and about looking deep to himself and valuing himself. This is actually I like very much. For me, guys, it has been always some areas. For example, in the school when I was young, my role model was a student who was bigger than me, like 5 years older than me. But I can characterize him. He has always sitting with the girls at the school and very confident of himself. And anyone needs anything, he jumps to him. He helps everybody. I don't know. I felt this guy was God for me at that time, and I wanted to be having such confidence dealing with people and with troubles, because he was not a troublemaker.
Were we in the same class? Were we in the same class?
Yeah, he's a trouble solver. Anybody has a trouble, he solves it, and he's controlling everything with his brain. But he's also well built, and people. And actually, when sometimes long time ago, when I was playing judo, I was a judo player at Egyptian Shooting Club. Also, there was another player. He's my age, but I have so much respect for him. But he was not playing at my weight. He was playing at another weight. But he was very dedicated, and I admire his dedication. And he wins every match he plays. I learned a lot from him intentionally. Of course, my father, he's a charismatic person. Everybody loves him. Everybody loves him, and he can speak to different people from different levels with their own minds. I don't know. He has a very social intelligence skills. He speaks in a very diplomatic way, and his character is changing a lot with people. He can be soft and he can be aggressive, but people loves him. He solves also situations with his character. He's a role model for me. I have learned a lot from him. Of course, I have learned a lot. I have learned a lot and admire my meditation teacher, Nada Haidar. Yeah, she inspires me a lot with her knowledge and with her talks and with her energy. I wanted to have good energy like her, and this kind of feeling for others. Different milestones. Actually, being a role model or idol or someone who inspires you, difference from time to time, and we have to speak a lot about it. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's always good to have an inspiration on the source we can learn from. Maybe it's a book, or it's the behaving of a person, the attitude, or whatever it is. It's always good to learn from something. And as Mounir said, also we don't have to do all the mistakes twice. Yeah, maybe we can learn something. With some mistakes we have to experience ourselves, otherwise we don't believe it. But some stuff we can avoid when we listen to somebody. Christian, you said backstage you mentioned something. Sometimes your inspiration is something that is not a person. What did you mean by this?
Well, it was a person, but it wasn't a real person. It's a character of a movie, like Mohamed mentioned to me, and he really left a footprint in my life because I admired and still do some of his characteristics. It was, I don't know if you guys know him. It's Captain Jean-Luc Picard from the Enterprise, and the thing I loved about him was first his integrity, and second the way he he went with other races like aliens and stuff like that, how he managed that, how peaceful he approached and stuff like that. So and I always really admired his way of problem solving, because he always tried to get everybody into a solution, and this is something I really do admire still right now. So that was this, but the thing about idols and stuff like this, in a kind of different way, if you like to say, they're still around us. They're every time around us, like family, like friends. Those are all our social network. Those are people inspiring us, giving things to us, and even the people's or the things we are not okay with, they still leave a footprint in our lives, in our opinion. By not accepting what they do, we take something from them. Like we're getting an advice, or we're setting up a new border inside of us. So I think those idols are everywhere around us, and everyone we are meeting. And as a question of consciousness, I think the more and more you grow, the more and more you see something to learn in everybody you meet, like the cashier in the supermarket or stuff like that. So if you have a talk for a few minutes, and maybe if you're really open and responsive, you can learn something. You can maybe see the way she treats you, even from a job you would never do, maybe like a trash guy or something. I don't know. So they are everywhere. I think the one thing is, people we are aware of, we're picking like consciously. So like, this is a cool guy, I want to learn from him. And the other thing is unconscious, the people around us. And I think they really leave much more footprint in our lives as we think.
Absolutely. I just was thinking, one of my previous dogs, Abayomi, he was a Great Danes Ridgeback. He was a role model for me in a good manner, because I always appreciate how he was in the present moment, always such in the present moment. So I learned so much about such observing my dog, and still now this little girl, this little huge girl, laying down on my feet, and the cat that is traveling with me, they also become role models, because they also saw the present moment, and they always remember me. Don't take life too serious. As long as you have a roof over you, a shelter, some food, and get some rest, everything is fine. So also animals become a role model, for me, and to learn from them.
Yeah, I'd love to be a cat and just sleep all day. Not to worry about anything.
I have a question, guys. Do you think you see yourself a role model? Or another question, do you want to be a role model or the person who inspires people? I'm throwing this on the table.
Yeah, I'd rather be an inspiration rather than an idol, So I've come from we've all had confusing and done good and bad things in the past. I've been at the lowest of the low, and I'm now moving forward. I'm higher in life than I ever have been, but I still know there's more to come. But it's nice when people come up to me and say, yes, you've met me, you've inspired me to do something. I think that's great, because every part of me, I don't do things to receive, but if I can do something to help somebody, and then, 5-10 years down the line, they say, that piece of advice you gave me 5 years ago that I can't even remember. And they say, listen, I listened to it and it helped me out in a situation that I was in this weekend. And they really appreciate you. I'm like, well, all I'm doing is sharing my knowledge, as a man and as an alpha male. I'm trying to make it easier for people behind me by trying to give you certain guidances. If you come to me with a question, I'll give you an answer. You might not like the answer or expect the answer that you wanted to hear, but I think that's why people look up to me, because if you want my opinion, I will give you my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right or it's wrong, but if you're asking for my opinion, the best I can do is be honest, and that makes people want to talk to you, want to communicate with you, and be inspired by you. Do you know what I mean? But I don't do it as a gratification thing.
And in fact, for me, I would definitely say the same. It's an inspiration. This is where I would see myself, and I would really want to do that for young people, for colleagues, for friends, and so on, and make them see a better in life. But and I stopped, trying to be an idol, because this is very hard. What I was always hearing from my parents, that I need to be a role model father, I need to be a role model husband, and I need to be a role model in the business, and I need to be a role model in that. And it was really tiring. And I was looking for perfection in everything that I'm doing. I was feeling guilt of, being at work because I'm leaving my kids and home. And I felt so much guilt because I am with the family, because I left my home, because I needed to be an idol in everything. Until my therapist started to say, you don't have to, you cannot be, there is no one like that. And there is no such thing about, being an idol or a role model father. You don't have to be that. You need to be a real father who laughs, who cries, who feels, and so on. And since I started to be that, it's totally different life. Although I'm still have some residuals, but I'm far better.
But that's what it's all about. We all imperfections, isn't it? We've all got imperfections. So how can anybody be an idol?
Yeah. But just by being, as Mounir said, by just being authentic. It's all about being authentic. I guess it's so important to be authentic. There's so much fake stuff out there, and so much young people are following fake people out there until they realize.
Well, they only highlight the good stuff, don't they? Any social media, they don't tell you when they're having a shit day, or when I'm about to break down. It's all, look, I did this thing amazing, I did that thing amazing, oh, this was amazing. And that's, I've got a 14-year-old daughter that looks through things, and I'm like, but get them on an off day. We all have off days. None of us are perfect. We've all got flaws. Do you know what I mean? So stop wasting your time. As you said, Mounir, you had to be a role model for this, that, and the other. And the only way you can be a role model is by dealing with all the issues that are stopping you being yourself, true to yourself, being able to cry, being able to talk, being able to pick up the phone and ask for help when we need to. That's the things as a man, I think, and when you do that, it gives you people behind you inspiration to open up and talk. Do you know what I mean? So if I become an icon for making men talk about men's issues, then fucking so be it. But that's not my dream. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the same for me, Scott, as Hazem asked. I mean, hopefully I do good stuff. I have a good intention what I'm doing, and I have a good, my contribution to this, to the humankind, to Mother Earth is a positive one, who has a positive impact. And of course, I hope that this is an inspiration, but not me as a person, but my action should be an inspiration for other people. That's what I'm hoping for, not for me. And that's why I'm not very into getting, I don't know, awards or something like that. I just want to inspire people about the action, not about the talking, about the action. It's not about me, it's about the action. And I'm just a person who does it, but this means that everyone else can do it. Everyone else can do it. That's about me.
Well, if you give unconditionally, then you will never reap the rewards of that one kindness, that one gesture. You know what I mean? So if you are questioned that whenever we go to the next unit, well, what did you do for mankind? You might say, oh, well, I did this, and this. And they say, no, do you know what the fundamental thing was? That person that you offered an umbrella to when it was pissing down with rain, when you didn't say anything, you changed their day. Do you know what I mean? You don't know. And I don't think it's up to us to know the consequences of our actions. As long as we know we are true to our actions, then there's the ripple effect, isn't there?
Absolutely. And as long as we're not attached to getting a reward for it, I think that's very important, because otherwise that's what puts the pressure on Mounir when we're expecting a reward for that somebody says, yeah, well done, or whatever it is. It's just not the non-attachment. That's what I learned in karma yoga. Not expecting a reward, doing for the love of others. Absolutely.
But the first thing you do is like when somebody says to you, oh, you should be a role model father. Right? Can you write me a list of exactly what a role model father is? You know, so there is no book. You know, there is no book of the perfect man, the perfect human being. So we all learn and we get inspiration from other people's, but isn't that what makes us who we are? That's what forms our spirit, that forms our soul, because we do take a little bit of this. And I think taking a little bit from each individual person, you build up yourself. But I wouldn't solely put my life behind somebody saying, I want to be 100% like that person. I could never idolize anybody.
But that's what we see, you know, in mainstream media, what you see in commercial, what you see in movies is a kind of role model. For women, you have to be slim, you have to be a super mommy, you have to be successful in business, an amazing lover that everybody wants to date you. So, and the same for the men, you know, looking good, being a perfect father, being a perfect businessman, and besides the business, the 80 hours a week, you run a marathon, or you do this and you do this. That's what we believe, or many people believe, that this is a role model. It's not. It's just driven by some interest of the industry who sells you, I don't know,
corporate
whatever.
bollocks. It's corporate.
Sorry?
Bollocks. It's corporate bollocks, you know. So you've got to be 5'6", 5'7". You know, when I was young, I wanted to be a policeman, right? And I was 6'1" at 13, and I went to apply, and they said, you're too tall. Do you know what I mean? Back then, I was too tall, so I was like, oh right, well I can't be a policeman. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to fit into brackets. So make your own bloody brackets, and I think that's what it's about. You know, learning flaws, mistakes, and being free to turn around and use your mistakes to help other people. We've all been in lots of scenarios in our lifetime, but I can guarantee you, as men, there's a lot that we share, but we think we're the only ones when we're on our solace, that no man's feeling like that, because everybody, look at this, everybody seems to be happy around me, but it's true, it's a fallacy, you know. So look in the mirror. You know, I met a guy at the weekend called Ben Chai, and he said, you know, cowardice, you know, which is a word that alpha males don't really use, but cowardice is a good form of defense. Do you know what I mean? Look in the mirror and tell yourself you love you every day. Do you know what I mean? Become your own icon, become your own knight. And he said, stand in front of the mirror naked. Do you know what I mean? Because if you don't love you, nobody else is going to. Nobody's going to take the time of day. So don't look for love elsewhere. Look for love inside and become your own icon, become your own idol.
Absolutely. That's what I said in the beginning. It's stop being impressed by other people, be more involved in your own life, and do whatever you can do, or whatever you want to, and find your vision and be on your mission because of the purpose you found in your life for yourself.
But does anybody think that they found themselves completely yet? Because I know I haven't. You know, I'm still learning. I'm still adapting, learning something new every day. You know,
I'm still a searcher.
Yeah,
I'm still a searcher.
But what are we searching for? You know what I mean? So just embrace the moment, because who knows? There might not be another moment. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, gentlemen, we're coming to an end. I want every one of you to give a short advice for audience, especially for our younger audience, about a role model. What are the risks, what are the threats, and what are the advantages? Just a short statement of everything. I just start like I see you on the screen. Christian, you have a short advice for our younger audience?
Listen to guys like Big Scott.
Okay. That's what he doesn't want to hear, but thank you.
That's a good one. Yeah,
that's a good one. Hazem, your short advice.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, don't try to be a role model. Just be honest. Just trust. Be a trustworthy person. Care and love people and respect them. They will respect you in return.
Thank you. Mounir.
I would go for, you know, there is no such thing about idol. You know, just follow your guts, follow your inspiration, get inspired from people, learn from the other people experience, so that you don't need to go through them all.
Thank you. Scott.
Invest in yourself, invest in your own journey, take inspiration from other people around you, male, female, animal, vegetable, mineral, or neutral. But at the end of the day, reach one person, teach one person, you know. So just help people, be honest, true, and compassionate, and we can unite and inspire the world.
Yeah, thank you. And at the end, it's all about sharing and caring, caring, and connecting. And I remember years ago, the founder or the creator of this term social competence was asked by journalists, how do I know that I'm social competent? And he said, you know when you're an asshole. So guys, avoid to be an asshole, make this planet a better place. Thanks for listening us. And as I said before, if you missed any of the shows, you can see the recordings, but you also get in contact with all these panelists here on our website, bonfiretalks.com. Thanks a lot for listening us and watching us. If you have a topic you want to have discussed on the show, let us know. You're more than welcome. Don't hesitate. Contact us. And you're also more than welcome to share our show with other people and recommend us to other guys who want to listen to us. Thanks a lot. See you again next Wednesday. Same time, same procedure at USA Global TV and Radio. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Slowly, we're flying away with the technical background. Yes, we're going up.